back in seminary, we would do the readings not from an insert, but rather from a very big Bible. And whoever was working as a sacristan in the chapel that day would have to mark the Bible with the proper readings. Makes sense. So we used Post-it note sticky tabs. So green meant start here, and red meant end here. Makes sense. And there also was skip or turn page. Inevitably, the Post-it would stop being sticky and then fall off the book, sometimes causing confusion among the readers. So one day I'm trying to get this old Post-it note to stay, and I said to my friend, "You are the Post-it note of the big Bible, but if a Post-it loses its stickiness, how can it be restored?" And we thought we were very clever. Now the thing is that Post-it notes definitely lose stickiness over time. Salt, however, never really loses its taste. I've had the same giant Costco sea salt grinder for about 8 years in my cupboard, and the salt tastes just the same as it did on the day I bought it. So what's Jesus really talking about? So this is from the Sermon on the Mount, and Jesus says, "We're the salt of the earth, and we are the light of the world." But what is salt? It's a flavoring, it preserves food, it melts ice on the roads and sidewalks, hopefully keeping us from falling down. It does a little damage to our cars. Until about 100 years ago, salt was a very scarce commodity. You couldn't just go buy some. And in Jesus' time, salt was sometimes even used as currency. And salt's value isn't really in itself, it's in its application. Similarly, light is a wonderful tool for us to see by, and lamplight in and of itself is not useful if no one's around. It matters what we do with it. So the followers of Jesus are called here to exist for others. They are to be the salt that helps people, that adds value to their lives, and they are to be the light that shines God's message onto others, and by which people can see the acts of justice that people perform in Jesus' name. People can then see God working in the world. So this is not a command story. This is a commissioning type story. Jesus doesn't say, "You can be salt or light if you do XYZ checklist." He declares here, "You are the salt. You are the light." God has made us this way through sheer blessing and grace. Now remember last week's portion of the sermon. Jesus tells the disciples that they are blessed, already blessed. And once they know that and accept it, they can begin to act out Jesus' mission. So last week, they learned something. Now they have to apply it, because knowledge without application is pretty useless. So, we are already blessed, and we are doing good things in the name of God. We might just need to do it with some more conscious intentionality. You know, some psychologists suggest that for every one negative thing an elementary school child hears about themselves, it takes 10 positive things to bring the self-esteem back up. And I think that can apply to adults too, because I know that I tend to just latch on to the negative comment, and then I obsess over it. Sometimes I even obsess over things that happened in elementary school, so... If you call someone bad long enough, they will become bad. The same goes for other things like stupid, fat, lazy, shameful, unlovable, etc. But if you call someone useful, good, dependable, and helpful, they can grow into that identity instead. So this is what Jesus is doing here. He says that we are good, we are useful, and we can grow into these roles with his help. We need to see how we are salt and light in the world. Then we can continue to grow in that identity, because our blessings are useless if we don't act. Jesus continues to say that he's not come to abolish the law, rather to fulfill it. One implication of this is that he is interpreting the law's meaning for a contemporary audience, meaning his contemporaries, and for their practice. A lot of the law is hard to keep. Have you ever read all of the law? Jonathan is exempt from this question. There's about, I think, 613 of them. And they are very hard. They're not all very practical because, we don't have oxen standing around for us to cut in half. And we don't sign contracts in blood anymore, So Jesus is taking the overall message of the law and making it doable for everyone, not just the very rich who can afford to follow the laws and who have the time to do it. He says the greatest commandment is to love God with all our hearts and love our neighbors as ourselves. Love our neighbors. This is the main theme of all the law and the Bible. Jesus is telling the crowd that they are already good and righteous, even if they can't follow the exact letter. They are salt and they are light. They have value, and what they do matters. So Post-its lose stickiness over time. That's a fact. And once the stickiness is gone, it doesn't come back. While salt can never really lose its taste, but it can lose its usefulness. If you keep the salt in the cupboard and never apply it to anything, it's wasted. I think that's what Jesus is getting at here. We all have the ability to be heralds of God in the world, but if we don't use that skill, we will lose our saltiness. The church is no longer an if you build it, they will come place. I know that is not what many people want to hear, but that's how it is. We have to go out into the world and show the world Christ's love and show people what we offer. I can change the liturgy around. We could have laser lights and smoothie machines and video screens and rock bands until the cows come home, which we're not doing. So don't get your hopes up. But that is in here. How would people even know we did that? You have to go out there. And studies show anyway that younger people prefer traditional worship. And I'll email you those studies. And these internal changes are not going to help unless we go out there. We have to accept that we are the salt, we are the light, and then go out and do something with it. And Jesus tells us today we are of great value. Who and what we are and all that we give to the world should make the world a better place. The thing is to get out there, shine the light, show how God is working in the world, and acknowledge our role in that too. And I know that we Episcopalians are notoriously stuffy and stiff. We don't like to boast or brag or even talk to anyone. But we still need to make the saving power of Christ and how God has helped us known to the world. Speak out about God's love. Speak out against hate, against exclusion, and injustice. If we continue to fulfill this commissioning, we will never lose our flavor or stickiness, and our light will never go out. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.